just a quick disclaimer. I meant to spell STOOM, not STOOM. In that last episode, I misspelled storm. But I was just too for a moment, you know. But anyway, I do know it's STOOM. Anyway, on script. By now, this show should come with a warning label for boomers who believe metal is a one-way ticket to hell. Today's playlist is not recommended for anyone who remembers life before airbags. Anyway, welcome back to your helm of all things heavy metal into the pits.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Yay. Okay, let's start now. Yay.
We should just rename it Testicle Torpedo because subtlety is for soft people. Anyway,
I'm sorry. What was that last part again?
Testicle Torpedo, which is what I'm gonna do to you later in private. Anyway, you should be used to it. But we have an extra heavy playlist for you this week. I'm gonna be spinning some cattle decapitation and Warbringer in just a few minutes time. But first, I need to vent a little bit. Apparently, System of a Down might have been coming to Australia in 2026, or at least that's what Billy's mom, Melissa, led me to believe. So I spent a solid few minutes letting myself get irrationally excited before actually checking the official tour dates and discovering that, surprise, surprise, there isn't a single Australian show. So thanks, Melissa, for absolutely obliterating my joy for no reason at all. On the bright side, I guess that's my excuse to throw it back to 2001 and play Dear Dance off the critically acclaimed album Toxicity. You're listening to Into a Pit with Riley Plunk, and just so you know, Melissa, I'll be planning my entirely unnecessary but deeply satisfying vengeance shortly.
Circuses lamenting in protest of visible police. Presence sponsor fear. Battalions of riot police with rubber bullet kisses. Baton courtesy. Service with a smile. Beyond the Staples Center you can see America with its dire for avenging disgrace. Peaceful loving youth against the brutality of plastic existence. Pushing little children with their fully automatics. They like to push the weak around. Pushing little children. They like to push the weak around. Rush of words pleading to disperse upon your naked walls alive. A political call, the fog acorn. We can't afford to be neutral on a moving train. Beyond the Staples Center you can see America with its dire for avenging disgrace. Peaceful loving youth against the brutality of plastic existence. Pushing little children with their fully automatics. They like to push the weak around. Pushing little children with their fully automatics. They like to push the weak around. Push them around. A tear gas, invitation to peace, war staring you in the face. Dressed in black, with a helmet, fierce, trained and appropriate for the malcontents, for the disproportionate malcontents. Little boy, smile, it'll all be well. And say a little boy, smile, it'll all be well. Pushing little children with their fully automatics. They like to push the weak around. Pushing little children with their fully automatics. They like to push the weak around. Pushing little children with their fully automatics. They like to push the weak around. Push the weak around. Push the weak around. Push the weak around. They like to push the weak around.
The title of the song didn't have to be unnecessarily complicated, but apparently some people like to make things convoluted just to sound smart. That was Trivium. A gunshot to the head of trepidation of the 2005 album Ascendancy. When Matt Heavy got pulled into Trivium, he was a 12-year-old kid who just played a Metallica cover at a school talent show. Former drummer Travis Smith was there, noticed how tight his rhythm playing was, and recruited him, strictly as a guitarist. Matt was shy and never planned on singing. That role just fell to him because no one else wanted it. So he ended up screaming in garages and tiny Florida venues, copying the metalcore bands he loved. No training, just forcing it night after night. Trivium recorded Like Light to the Flies in Simlish for The Sims 4, using a phonetic sheet to improvise the gibberish lyrics while keeping phrasing and emotion. Drums and guitars stayed mostly the same, but Matt repeated lines dozens of times to match the rhythm, making it sound chaotic in the studio to anyone not reading the sheet. Corey and the rest of the band had to adjust their timing slightly to lock in with the strange syllables, and they laughed constantly at how absurd it all sounded. Before that, System of a Down with Dear Dance off the 2001 album Toxicity. You're listening into the pit with Riley Punk and my noble slave Billy Kingston. And it's time for our album of the week breakdown. And this week, it's none other than Henbane by Côte de Gaulle, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a French atmospheric black metal band. Côte de Gaulle formed in Poland in the early 2000s as an obscure, ritual-focused black metal project rooted in occultism rather than scene visibility. From the start, the band remained strict anonymity, using esoteric pseudonyms and avoiding promotion or live appearances. Aiming to create music that felt more like an invocation ritual than entertainment. Their signature album, Henbane, or a sonic compendium of the black arts, stands out for its stark, ritualistic, almost cinematic atmosphere, elevated further by subtle doom elements thrown into the mix. The guitarists carry this mean, dirty, gritty, absolutely disgusting tone, almost closer to death metal than traditional black metal, with a surprising emphasis on these extremely slow chugs, particularly on tracks like Idols of a Chosen Damned, The Passion of a Sorceress, and Vintage Black Magic, rather than blast beat and speed or frantic tremolo ones, which are definitely on the album but used sparingly. The vocals are also strangely operatic, almost liturgical and grandiose, yet unsettlingly dissonant, as if the vocalist himself is a tortured soul begging for absolution. There are also eerie breaks scattered throughout, mostly driven by the drums and bass, that feel sparse and unsettling, like the air slowly being pulled out of the room. Moving on, modern thrash legends Warbringer is set to perform at Maryland Death Fest in the USA this coming May. So I'm gonna play a track off her album from last year. This track is called For Jackhammer.
Cross these streets with
Before the internet convinces you otherwise, not all vegans are 65-year-old cat lady extremists who wage war on YouTube comments and stage sad protests at McDonald's. That was cow decapitation, manufactured extinct off a 2015 album, The Anthropocene Extinction. Very few people know that as a kid, lead vocalist Travis Ryan would huddle over his mum's old karaoke machine, shoving the mic too close and twisting it in his hands, forcing his voice into guttural growls and rasps, mimicking Caucus's vocals as best as he could. He would often lean in, pull back, adjust the volume, and listen to the vibrations shake the chord and echo off the walls, coughing, laughing, grimacing, and testing how far his own voice could stretch. On the 2012 tour, Travis got into a heated argument with Chris Barnes of Cannibal Corpse and 6 Feet Under fame, exchanging shouted insults over equipment and set times while roadies tried to separate them. Travis slammed his fist on a speaker cabinet, and Barnes shoved a drumstick against the mic stand in frustration, just like how I probably shouldn't say it, since the children were watching or listening. They continued yelling over each other.
What is it?
I was gonna say I was gonna stick a drumstick up your ass, but damn, I just said it. Anyway, where was I?
Okay. You already said that.
Oh god, that's gonna look so bad when it comes out. Fuck!
Oh, also, we played Cannibal Corpse on this. Totally a family-friendly band.
If you want your kids to listen to songs about fucking dead corpses, fun for the whole family. Anyway,
we're gonna get canceled.
We are going to get so canceled for that. Holy shit! They continued yelling over
I don't know.
They continued yelling over each other while the other band members tried to mediate, and the tension between the two bands has lingered ever since. And during the show, a fan tossed a cattle mask onto the stage, and Travis Ryan grabbed it, slipped it over his hand, and shoved the mic down its mouth mid-sud. The crowd erupted, some laughing, some screaming, as he twisted and angled the mic to make it squeal through the mask.
Jesus!
That's,
wow!
He was like going full anal on it.
Jesus!
Yeah.
Jesus! My goodness!
Oh, Jesus. Oh, thanks for saying my name, Billy.
You're not Jesus, you're Riley.
I am the reincarnation of Jesus Christ, thank you very much.
Damn, when did Jesus get so ugly?
God fucking damn it. As he twisted and angled the mic to make it squeal through the mask, bouncing with the rhythm while the rest of the band played on. You're listening to Into the Pit, and it's time for our debate segment of the program, which Billy wouldn't get because he's a fucking idiot.
And you aren't?
Compared to you, I'm Albert Einstein.
Really?
Yeah. Unlike you, I know what pi is. It's a food, not a math equation.
There's like different types of pie.
Well, pie is pie, alright?
Pie is pie. Pie is pie, everybody.
No, never knew that.
just fucking get on with whatever you with. We need
We do need to move on.
yes. We need
I
to do
just need
something.
material to promote the episode, that's all. It's time for a debate segment of the program. This one might actually be a little more controversial from the last one, particularly among diehard fans of this band. Was King Diamond's theatrical personality divisive because it overshadowed his bandmates, or was it vital to the act? Like last time, post your answer in the comments, but don't just drop a yes or no. Make sure you actually explain your reasoning. God, it's like I'm teaching a fucking class of 5-year-olds.
to someone who is way dumber than a 5-year-old.
You cannot be talking. You're way dumber than the 3-year-olds.
You are dumber than a newborn.
You were dumber than an unborn fetus.
You are just about as smart as a rock.
I mean, rocks can be pretty smart. Ever had a pet rock? Anyway, moving on. Technical death metal titans Archspire are set to release a new album in April. But right now we're going to play a single from that album, released earlier this year, because I'm fucking late to everything, called Lamb of Leviticus.
Sorry, I can't understand. They're singing.
Really?
Sorry, I can't understand this band's singing.
Thanks a lot, Billy. Thanks for that. I really needed that. Bravo. Bravo for your interruptions. Now bow down to your master. Hello?
Hello?
You okay?
Yes.
Good. That's all I care about.
Sure you do. Sure
No,
you
I
do,
do,
buddy.
I do. You suddenly went quiet for a second. Originally, I was going to play some prog metal after that Archspire song, but then I realized I've never played a war metal track on the program before, so I decided to just wing it. And with that, Bailey's not a metal virgin anymore, so no applause. That was Archgoad, Tribulation of the King of Worms of the 2009 album, The Light Devouring Darkness. In 1989, believe it or not, Archgout were reportedly even more chaotic than the material that later surfaced on the 1993 EP Angel Cunt. Early rehearsals focused less on structured riffs and more on oppressive, ritualistic repetition. Slow, murky passages collapsing into bursts of primitive aggression, recorded on rough tapes that were barely circulated, and in some cases, lost. The intent wasn't to write memorable songs, but to create something suffocating and anti-musical. A kind of deliberate sonic blasphemy that already rejected Polish before the scene around them had even fully formed. The 1991 Jesus Spawn demo became one of the most coveted artifacts in early Finnish black metal, traded quietly among collectors, with originals fetching serious money. Its sound is notoriously filthy. Even for the era, thin guitars, distant drums, and Calvinist vocals barely held together by the tape. Some circulated copies reportedly feature slight mix or structural differences, adding to its mystique as a relic from a moment never meant for wide preservation. Oh, sorry, I almost said perversion, but that's totally different thing. You're listening to Into the Pit with Riley Plunk, and it's time for our very first Metal Mythbusters segment of the program. And this week's one is spicy. Supposedly, some have claimed that Judas Priest hid reversed Bible verses in their music to anger religious groups. Here's what we do know. The families of two young men who entered into a suicide pact claimed that when Stained Class, 1978, was played backwards, phrases like "do it" could be heard, presented as a subliminal message supposedly influencing their actions. The judge dismissed the case, ruling that there was no evidence Judas Priest had intentionally hidden commands in their music or that any such messages caused the tragic incidents. However, during the trial, the plaintiffs, I think that's how you pronounce it, did claim the song "Better by You, Better Than Me" contained a subliminal "do it" message, isolated by slowing the record, filtering the audio, and even playing parts backward. A trial witness at one point testified that they heard alleged backward phrases in other tracks, including stuff that sounded blasphemous, such as "fuck the Lord" and "seen my evil spirit" when played backwards. Here's when the story gets tricky. Hearing is subjective. When people play a song backward, the brain can impose words and random sounds if it expects to hear something. So what one person hears as "stupid," another might hear as gibberish. This is called pareidolia. The same effect that makes us see shapes in clouds, like a dick shape, for example. But here's the reality. Judas Priest never hid backward biblical. Judas Priest never hid backward biblical verses or messages to anger religious groups. The alleged phrases were either accidental, auditory illusions, or small creative experiments, and the courts found no evidence they caused harm. Final verdicts, drum roll please. False. Cue music. Gonna leave you with a track from Modern Doom. Gonna leave you with a track from Modern Doom Legends, Poor Bearer. The Ghost of Me of a 2014 masterpiece, Foundations of Burden. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate your support, and I'll be here same time, same place next week. Catch you later. And I meant the ghosts I used to be, by the way. Not the ghosts of me. That's just been on the script, but catch you later anyway.
Already
Hey, it isn't as long as the new Avatar film.
Yep. Oh, hold on. I need to say something. I need to say a really funny joke.
What?
The ghost of me, the ghost I used to be, more like the sperm I used to be.
Wow, dude. You got the whole squad laughing.
Damn straight I do. Catch you all next week.